job done by the big boys of RCB with the bat. They have downed the Gujarat Titans by 8 wickets on the night. A must-win game for them to keep their playoff chances alive. And they've done that. They've got to 16 points. For the time being, they claim spot number 4, the only spot available in the playoffs race. As we expect Rajasthan with their healthy net run rate to finish either third or second. And they officially knock out Punjab Kings and Sunrisers Hyderabad. Delhi Capitals, the only team that could remove RCB from the top 4 if they get the job done against the Mumbai Indians on Saturday. It is effectively just a 2-horse race for that 4th spot. And we shall look back at an innings where Virat Kohli found his mojo. The best of Kohli, quite convincingly. It's unfortunate if it would be in RCB's last game this season. He'd love for the season to start now. But we will look back at that innings and look back at RCB's overall day against table-topping Titans that enter the playoffs with a loss. On Maruti Suzuki presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by Kunai 5G. You'll hear from Ravi Shastri in a moment. Before that, Dan Vettori. I guess this is the sort of batting performance you would have wanted from RCB almost every day, where the top 2 fire. We see the very best of Kohli. That was the best of Kohli, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was brilliant. And I think that's the perfect formula for winning T20 games in terms of your opening pair, setting the platform and then allowing the likes of Maxwell to come in and just be the icing on the cake. And I think we've seen that countless times in good T20 teams. It's on the back of an opening partnership, and today Virat and Faf were outstanding. They took the game on. I think we'd always talk about that intent early on, and they were brilliant. Even the likes of Shami early on, bowling 2 overs 23, to put that sort of pressure on a bowler who's obviously almost in the form of his life off the back of the last game, showed that they had a real plan about how they're going to go about things.
I mean, partnership of 115. Effectively, that was the game there. 14.5 overs chasing 169. They had their moments of good fortune, though, and perhaps Virat Kohli would argue that he's due some moments of good fortune this season.
Well, there was one moment, I thought, after Faf got out, where obviously Maxwell, the ball hit the stumps, the bails lit up, but for the second time this season, we've seen that the bails didn't come off, and then they went on the 4 byes there. Maxwell had a 6 and a 4, so 14 runs off 3 balls. If that had been turned around, then maybe you could have seen Gujarat get up and about. Maybe you could have seen Gujarat use Shami and Lockie Ferguson, who surprisingly only got through, I think, 3.2 overs between them. So it was an interesting decisions by Pandya, but more or less the game was taken away by that opening partnership.
Ravi Shastri is with us as well now, and we've spoken so much about Virat Kohli. It had to happen, even if it isn't the last game for RCB this season. Ravi, happy with what you saw of Kohli?
Good. Still not the best, but the pop is in the house, and he's announced it to the world. He's there in the playoffs if they qualify. If there's a problem with Delhi Capitals, then wait and watch.
I must say,
it's an announcement to. I mean, it's not critics; it's to the world that don't mess around with the pop. When there's class, respect class. And it'll teach all the kids how to play.
Wonderful. I must say, though, Ravi, I mean, you see it with great players too. So we try and break it down in studios or with the numbers and whatnot. All you need sometimes a little bit of fortune, good few things going your way. You could see how much Kohli was just driving at the back of a half chance or a couple of nicks. Sometimes that's all you need to tell you it's your day.
Every day I live, I need luck in my life. Forget playing.
Yep. Dan, same question though. Little bit of good fortune, and suddenly you feel like all these things that have been going against me, you could feel like was the message coming from Kohli, that great balls, great catches, some odd balls also getting him out. Today he felt like, this is my day.
Well, I just think you just need to get away sometimes in those situations. I mean, we talked about his innings last time against Gujarat, he was 53 off 50, and it was hard for him to get away, whereas today he got away, and you saw the best of him, particularly the likes of taking on Rashid Khan, hitting straight down the ground, the power through the covers, all those little things that you expect of Kohli, and obviously it's been a tough season for him, but when you see him at his best, it propels RCB, if they make it through to the playoffs, into the conversation about being a genuine championship contender.
Yeah, we've also brought up all these numbers, Ravi, haven't we? Kohli against spin, Kohli power game. Today against Rashid Khan, 6s of Rashid Khan, big shots of Rashid. That proved a point too?
No, because knowing Kohli, he reserves the best for the big games. So if this was a semi-final of a World Cup or a quarter-final, he would have done exactly the same thing with Rashid. Today was like literally a semi-final for him. He had to win it for RCB. He did the same thing. So not surprised one bit.
I like that you say that. Is he just almost more suited because of the character we know to the big stage? More pressure, bigger scale. Suddenly that's when you see the best of Kohli?
Naturally, because how many have done that? And we judge people on, whatever happens time and time again. But let's not forget what he's done over the years. So a champion is a champion. Like I said, the pop is in the house.
I love it. Pop is in the house. Yeah, he'd be feeling like that though. I mean, for a player who's has only had the highs in the IPL, this would be an innings of such personal satisfaction, whether RCB make the playoffs or not.
Well, I mean, if you take out this last little while, you argue the last 8-9 years he's been one of the most consistent batsmen in world cricket. So he does get up for the big occasions, but he pretty much gets up for every occasion because he's a prideful man and he wants to succeed and he wants to do well and he sets such high standards, not only on the cricket field but off it as well with his fitness, etc., that we all know about. So it's always hard when you go through this tough patch when you've been so good for so long. And I think that's why it meant so much, just to show that the class is always going to be there. And now he's in form, and now RCB look terrifying for whoever if Delhi lose, whoever has, or Rajasthan or Lucknow have to come up against them.
Yeah. I mean, that's again that they'll have to just wait for the outcome of and pray that Mumbai Indians do them a favour. The other big talking point from this innings, second time this season it's happened. Dan Vettori already saying the lights coming up, but the bail's not falling. Rashid Khan's pace, you think if the wickets are touched at any point? Let me get Ravi's thoughts as well. We spoke about it a few days back, Ravi. The bowler's done his job. Give him the wicket, surely. Get the bails out.
You need a harder case at the stumps.
You want to add something to that?
Look, the ball hits the stumps, you're out. There. Yeah. That's it. As simple as that. Although, no, I don't have an although. I think just the ball hits the stumps, you should be out.
Yeah. So is it time to get rid of the bails when you got the LED stumps?
I think the lighting up is enough. I think that should be the decision. I didn't see the Chahal one. Did the bails lit up as well?
It did light up, which is essentially the bails just come off for a minute.
Yeah.
But this could also become something of just like a sensor if they want to evolve the technology. It's kiss the stumps. However the kiss, Ravi, it should be out though, surely, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, just for trying, it should be out.
Okay, fine. Ravi's keen. But I know Ravi did say traditionally, when we had the Chahal chat too, he said doesn't like to tweak things which are part of the game's tradition. So bails add another element of excitement, gives us something to talk about. So I guess that's something you look back on. How do we look back on the Gujarat Titans though? This wasn't necessarily the game they wanted going into the playoffs. What can you pick areas? With the ball, let's start. I mean, the use of Lockie Ferguson and Shami, Hardik Singh post-match, he felt he needed bowlers who could bowl slow balls. Yeah,
fascinating, really. I mean, particularly Shami off the back of how he bowled in the last game, to not keep pushing with him, even bowlers four overs out early, because they obviously needed to break that partnership because of how important it was. And he's such a good bowler, Shami. And then, I mean, you can leave a bowler. You can not bowl a bowler out, but to leave Ferguson until the 12th over, I think, when he bowled his first over, is very surprising. So we can say that they're a team that's slightly rattled, but we've also seen teams get back on track very quickly. You think of Lucknow with a good opening partnership. So I don't think they'll be feeling great about themselves after the performance, but they know they can turn that round very quickly.
Ravi, they go into the playoffs, top of the table, which is already, you could say, a hugely successful season for a new franchise. But do they still have bases that need to be covered or areas that they need to improve on? Do they strike you as an intimidating, formidable team in the playoffs?
A hugely successful season. I mean, for a new team to go to the top of the table with maximum points is an achievement and a half. So let's give them credit there. But, too much of tinkering in a big game like this won't help it. Danny, hit the nail on the head there. Shami not bowling. You picked up Lockie to, make inroads at the top. He doesn't bowl till the 12th. Then you have a price to pay, and you might have to then, when you come into the playoffs, where there's no room to look here or there, and you have to get your best foot forward, it becomes a tough ask. But leave all that aside. I mean, they should be thinking that we've topped the table. We've got the semi-finals. We've got a captain in form, in a good space of mind. So let's go and play. But they were, they were taught a little bit of a lesson today.
Is it sometimes a good thing to just have a bit of a stumble or a wake-up call before a playoff?
Potentially. I think you still want to win, but I think Ravi's point there around Hardik is probably the most important thing, that a captain who's confident, I think Hardik's confident no matter what, but a captain who's in form, a very good innings tonight, they'll go away and think about it. That management group will get together and say, well, what actually is our best team, and let's go back to those strengths. And the strengths were setting a platform for that middle order. Rashid Khan, Shami with the ball, Ferguson, even Alzari Joseph may come back into their thinking, because he was part of their success, that really strong bowling unit. And as Ravi said, they've tinkered a little bit. I don't think you tinker, obviously, in the 1v2 game. They find their best team and just go for it.
At the end of their league stage now, and them entering the playoffs, normally when teams end top of the table, you think these teams are favourites for the title. Can you say that about the Titans?
No, I don't think so. I think RCB or Delhi or Rajasthan, one of those three will potentially be the favourites. And that may be unfair on the two new teams because they don't have a proven track record, albeit that they've got lots of players who've played lots of IPL cricket. But I just sense the way that RCB are building, and potentially Delhi are building as well. It just feels like they've got something about them. Only one of those two teams can be there. So
we're talking about favourites for one team that may not make the playoffs.
Look, I'm probably being harsh. I'm being a little dismissive of what we should celebrate Gujarat's season. We should celebrate Lucknow's season. To come into an IPL tournament and be 1 and 2 in their first year is an incredible achievement. So dismiss all that. They're the favourites back then.
Okay, so you've turned around now.
Yeah, well, you know I do that.
Yeah, you're a harsh man like me, like Ravi says. Let's ask Ravi then. Something about the Titans that just makes you feel like it's not like the years where the Mumbai Indians topped or Chennai topped and you knew that they were going to enter the playoffs as favourites. Ravi, are the Titans favourites?
I'm a little brutal tonight because they missed a trick, because they're going to Kolkata, right, where they've topped the table. They're going to play in Kolkata irrespective. That pitch has bounce, pace, unlike 3 years before, like you mentioned, and the ball will pass the bat. So great opportunity today to unleash Shami and Lockie at the top, especially when you needed those inroads in the first 6 overs to get RCB 20 for 2 orders. So you missed a trick there. You're going to Kolkata where you'll have to use these guys at the top. So therein lies my point.
Yep. They're missing some tricks, the Titans. But can they put in their A game or bring out their A game in the playoffs? They will head to Kolkata now for qualifier number 1. RCB season review will wait because we are going to wait for the result of Delhi-Mumbai before we look back at the season that they've had. It's a big season for them. Faf du Plessis is captain, is new captain, lots of changes to the franchise without De Villiers, so it'll make for a fascinating chat, but we'll do it on one of the other days. With Ravi Shastri and Daniel Vettori, this result does knock off Sunrisers and Punjab from it. It will be a Delhi v Mumbai clash that will decide the 4th team in this year's playoffs. Big thank you to Ravi Shastri as well as Daniel Vettori. Good night, gentlemen, and I will see you both tomorrow for Rajasthan against Chennai. There's a lot riding on that one. You want Rajasthan to try and claim a second place spot if you're an RR fan. The other hand, CSK are a dangerous team, even though they're out of it. So join us after the toss for Maruti Suzuki presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by IQ 9 5G. As always, we look at the Maruti Suzuki Driving School poll of the day. Most sixes in this Bangalore-Gujarat game were hit by David Miller, and therefore, along with Hardik Pandya. So if you've gone for the 43% between Miller and the others, 43% of them win.
So others still win. So
others always win.
I'm still 100%.
Yeah, you've got a great record. We should get you one of those Maruti Suzukis. Drive it back all the way to Auckland.
I'll take it.
Yeah, Ravi's got a few, I think. No, he doesn't. Ravi doesn't need them.
No.
Thank you, Ravi. Good night. Thank you, Daniel. We will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.